Welcome back to class, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so today we're going to be looking at Jira. We're going to be looking at work structure in Jira. I know that if you're telling anyone that you are a business analyst, one of the things that you will say you do, one of your competencies will be that you know how to use Jira, right? And if you say you know how to use Jira, what are those things you will find in Jira? So that's what we want to look at today, right?
Yeah.
What are those things that make up a Jira? What are those things, work structure within Jira? And we have them broken into epics, stories, tasks, and bugs, right? You might not necessarily use bugs every time, but the major ones are your epic, stories, tasks. We can have subtasks as well. It depends on your team as well. So we'll be looking at understanding a agile hierarchy. We'll be looking at real-world examples, how Jira organizes work. Okay? Now, let's go.
You said the things we find in Jira are epics, user stories, tasks, and bugs.
Yes, so that those are the major things you find in Jira. So you can have different level of development in your Jira board, right? You can have ready for development, you can have selected for development. Let's not go into that. But the major things that you put into your ready for development board, there are different boards in Jira. Those are boards. But these are the things that we'll find in those boards. Do you get? These are the things that you're using to write your requirements in the board. Do you get? These are the major titles. These are the major work structure in Jira. You can have different components within Jira. You can have different. I don't want you to overstress yourself with what those things mean. Let's take it one step at a time, okay? Right. So if you have the capacity, I'll show you the work structures within Jira. I'll show you the components within Jira. I'll show you how statuses are being moved in Jira. We have different status in Jira. You have analysis, we have to do, we have in progress. They are different level. Do you get? So it depends on your team structure. But we're going to look at that, okay? So now, what is epic? What do you think epic is? So if you look at it, epic is a large body of work delivered over weeks/months. It's very, very big. It's too big for a single sprint. It's broken into several user stories. And it provides visibility for major features.
Yeah.
In this case, in the scenario of our students' registration, online registration, what do you think we can have as our epic? It's like it doesn't give, it just is like a high level summarization of what we want to do, summary of what we want to do. It's like an overview of what you need to do. It's like you're opening a page, you open a book, right? And that book has a title, right? And under this title, we have so many headings, right? We have different pages within the book. This is what epic is like. Does that make sense? So epic is that umbrella that carries different user stories, that carries different stories, okay? It is that umbrella. It is that umbrella. It's that pillar that carries all other user stories. So that is why you see that it is broken into user stories. Your epic is incomplete. It does not explain the work that needs to be done. It only gives an overview of what we need to do without breaking it down into user stories.
Okay.
So now looking at the illustration of the online registration for students that we're looking at the assignment, what do you think would be an epic for the onboarding system, whatever?
Okay. It might be documents upload. No. Online registration, onboarding process, online registration where student can register in form of student registration.
So now we're looking at onboarding systems, right? For students, that is an epic. Student onboarding system, that is an epic. Does this explain what exactly needs to be done? No. Right? It doesn't explain what needs to be done.
It's just like a major body for the futures.
Exactly, major body, and it's not carrying different children. You understand? Like a mother that has different children. Do you understand? It's the mother, yeah. It has different children. Without the children, you can't understand. You don't know. You cannot find the root of. You cannot understand where these children are coming from if you don't find the mother, right? If you don't find the parents or the father,
Yeah.
so there is no child that exists without the mother, right? Or without the parents bringing them to existence, right? So that is what Epic is like. Epic is like an umbrella that carries every other user story, that carries user story, that carries task, that carries the top subtask. It's a large body of work. It's put together as one. It's put together, it's summarized together. We're talking about student onboarding. Just look at student onboarding system, right? Onboarding system, or let's say online onboarding system. How does this make sense to a developer? This Epic, does it make sense?
It doesn't make sense.
Of course, it doesn't. So this is an Epic. So this is what an Epic is. Student onboarding system, just an Epic. So I will give you more examples. So I've written some examples here. Look at this. Our digital student onboarding system. That's an Epic. But you see, this Epic contains different stories. It contains stories like online registration. It contains stories like we need to upload documents, right? We need to track status, just like we did in the assignments, the task we did together. We need to the admin dashboard, right? There's need for email notifications. Those are the stories that you will find under the Epic. Do you get? Those are the stories. But this Epic is like the large body of work, right? That needs to be done. But it does not give clarity into how it needs to be done. It does not give any clarity. So until you have your stories well defined with your acceptance criteria, this Epic is incomplete.
Yeah.
Okay? Now let's go to user story. Now, you see user story, right? When you're writing requirements from the perspective of a user, that is user story. Do you get? User story is you're writing a requirement from the perspective of user. As a user, who is the user? We have different users. Remind me of the users we're looking
at. Admin.
We're looking at as a student, I want to register. I want to do this. So now look at the format in writing user stories, because you're looking at, every user have their user story because you're looking at it from the perspective of a user. That is called user story, the story of our user.
Yes.
Our user story, our user story, our admin story, our student story. Do you understand?
Yes.
User story. So the title is so defined, it's so well defined that it explains that we are looking at our requirements, we are looking at our story from the perspective of our user.
Yes.
You understand? So now, as a user, this is the format for writing user story. You will see, as a user, I want to, so that that's user. I want to, what is that thing you want to do? What's that goal? What are you trying to achieve? That's the goal. So that, what's the benefit? This focuses on value, not technical task at all. Now, let's give an example of a user story. Now, let's look at it from a student perspective. Let's look at registration, right? For example, let's look at online registration. That's one of the user story from the previous slides, right? This is online registration. So let's take this online registration as a user story. So look at this online registration. Online registration. So if you go down, you say, as a student, help me with the user story. If you're
as a student, I want to be able to register online.
Right. Okay. As a student, I want to
be able to register online.
I want to register online. Yeah.
As a student, I want to be able to enter my personal details.
You're not done. This is incomplete. We're looking at.
As a student, I want to register online so that I can enter my personal details.
Okay. Why do you think a student will want to register online? Why do you think we're comparing between, when you're saying online, definitely they're probably, looking at the problem statement initially, right? We're saying that students usually come to the center, right? They come to the office. right? Admins are too busy. So now, what do you see? That means that so that I can start my onboarding, right? I can start my onboarding without going to the office or without visiting the office. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there is a so that there is a user, there is what she wants, what the user wants, and what's the benefit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So as a user, at times, you will get so comfortable with writing user stories as long as you start using it. It becomes a habit. It becomes part of you when you start writing user story. It becomes so interesting to write stories because it's already a part of you. It's what you're already doing. Does that make sense? So this is what user story is like. Let me go to here because I just explained it here, but I wrote an example here. Can you see? Can you see another example? As a student, there are different levels. This one is registration because all your stories should have a title, right? This one is saying online registration, right? This one is online. I hope I'm flowing. I hope I'm not rushing because I know
You're not rushing. But the admin part should be under the admin dashboard.
Admin part should be under the admin.
As an admin.
Yeah, your user stories will have different users, right? So we're going to have different titles now. Do you get this one is going to be like a document. See, epic is one epic for a project. Epic is one. Does that make sense? Epic will carry different user stories.
Yes, but it has to align under each. The future, the user story has to align under. I don't get. Go on.
Under what? No, let me.
Under each epic. You know, this epic now we have, for example, we are going to have like admin dashboard as well, online registration.
It's all called
this online registration. It is only students that can have access to it, while the user story for the dashboard, admin dashboard, is only admin that can have access to it.
Get your. So now, in this scenario, we only have one epic. Epic remains the digital student onboarding system. It's like saying that, okay, our course title for this topic is home economics. That's our title. Under home economics, we're going to do subjects like cooking. So we have different topics that will come under it, right? This is stories. So your epic will remain the same. Nothing will change the fact that this topic, this subject or this class is still all about home economics. But you see, what will change is the fact that for you to achieve this epic, there are so many stories. We're going to do online registration for students, right? And then you need to know who exactly is this user story affecting rather. Who is impacting? This user story for registration is for the students. So definitely as a student, I want to be able to register. Who is uploading documents? Who wants to upload documents?
The students.
Students. Who wants to be able to track status?
Track status, the students.
Who wants to be able to the admin dashboard? Who is in charge of that?
The admin.
Of course. Does that make sense?
I'm saying you did not get what I'm saying.
Okay.
I saw a user story you just showed me. This part that says as an admin. I feel it should not be on that online registration.
I'm not done. I'm the one I'm putting there's no online registration is ending here, right? This is another part. See, let me put space. I'm just explaining. See, while I'm explaining, I just put this online registration in this explanation. Did you understand? It wasn't there before, right? It's just to simplify this for you. Does that make sense? I was about writing this one before you called my attention. Does that make sense? So each of them have their own story title.
Yes.
So for this story, this is the title of the story. Does that make sense? Right, yeah. So this is story number 1. So let me even do it that way so you understand that this is a different story entirely. Story 1. Right? We can call it story 1 or story 01. Let's just give it your story 2, right? Your story number 2. We're looking at what do you think will be the title of this story?
As a student, I want to upload documents so that admin upload and document upload and verification.
You can say document upload.
Documents upload and verification. Yeah.
You said and verification. I don't think we want to add
verification is not there, sorry.
Yeah.
That has to do with the admin's
So as a student, I want to upload documents so that admin can verify me, right?
Yes. That's better.
Can you see that this is a story number 2? Now let's go to story number 3. Story 3. What's this all about? As an admin, I want to see all application in one dashboard. What's this user story all about?
That has to go to your admin dashboard.
But can you see
That's
now?
what I'm saying. You just get what I mean.
Oh, okay.
That's what I've been saying
Yeah.
because I thought you put them under online registration. Sure, I was now like the epic for this one has to do with admin dashboard. So this should be a story under admin dashboard. Yeah.
Because you're using the word epic, you're saying epic. If you had said the story should be admin dashboard, I would have understood you. Does that make sense? So epic is different. That's why I kept going back to epic because you kept saying epic. Do you understand?
Wait,
So we have
just to clarify thing now. The online registration, is it a story or epic?
our stories. We're looking at example of user stories here. Epic has not changed. Our epic since morning is still digital student onboarding system. It will not change.
Okay.
It's like giving your project a title. It's like saying that you want to go on vacation and you're doing itinerary for your vacation. Vacation itinerary with your title of your epic. Does it change the fact? So any other thing you
No,
put on your itinerary,
saying.
it's not changed.
What I was thinking was before was epic is all this our online registration, document upload. Then what other the things that are under them and are futures, are user stories.
So that's why. Okay, so maybe I should do something here. Am I able to color grade this? So this contains. Can you see? It contains stories. Let me change this to black. So you see that it contains stories. What did I use? Can you see? It contains user stories for. Maybe I should write user stories. So do you understand now?
Yeah, that's right.
The epic, and these are the stories, and that's the breakdown. This is now the breakdown of the stories, and this is why we just decided to do an illustration of what user stories, like the example of user stories. Sorry. Are we clear before we move on, please?
Yeah. Go on.
Okay. So now, what do you think will make us know that okay, this story is complete? This story we have asked or we have sent to our developer, or that we have uploaded on the Jira board. How do we know that developer they've done their work and it's complete? How do we know? How do we say, okay, this is definition of done, we are done already? How can we?
That has to do with the validation of our acceptance criteria.
Okay. So what would you say acceptance criteria is?
This is it now. Those are the given that when I log in, I should be able to register. I'm just saying.
Okay. All right. So acceptance criteria is what gives. It's more like it's like what makes us accept that this user story is complete, or this user story is done, or that this user story is testable, or what makes us ensure that this is clear. Do you understand? Now, look at it. So when they want to test, this is what our testers will be checking. Your acceptance criteria is what they will be checking. Your acceptance criteria give clarity that, okay, if all these things are done, then students should be able to upload or register online. Do you get? If all these things in the story is complete, right? If as a student, I want to register so that I can start, if this story is completed, these are the things we will know that it's completed. This is what will make us know that this user story makes sense. It's done. Do you get? You want to be able to register online. How do we, okay, what will make us say, yes, we have accepted now, because students can register online, right? We are saying as a student, I want to register. This is not yet done. But what will make us think that this is done? What will make the business, the team understand that, yes, this project or this work is completed, or this task has been finalized, or this story has been done? It is your acceptance criteria. Now look at acceptance criteria. Look at we use something called even, when, and then. In writing your user stories, there will always be something called given, right? When, and then. Making sense?
Yeah.
So given what? What's the condition? Given that I am logging, right? Given is more like saying this is the condition. Like once I do something, right? It's like a conditional statement. Is that making sense? It's like conditions to something. When I do something,
this should happen,
this should happen, right? That is what acceptance criteria is. Given that I am logged in, I logged in as a student. When I upload my ID, right, I should receive confirmation. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Given that I am logged in, when I upload my ID, then I should receive confirmation. Because when you upload your ID, you need to receive a confirmation, isn't it? Once a student can receive confirmation, then we know that this user story is making sense.
Yeah.
Let's now make it simplified. You know, we're talking about student registration, right? Online registration. Let's look at one of the stories you did, online registration. Let's use that one because that will be more simplified, right? Yeah, let's do this together, okay? For the online registration, what do you think will be the acceptance criteria? Now, given
For the online registration,
yes,
given that I logged in to register, I should be able to receive a notification. Yeah. Given that I logged in and I finished my registration, I should be able to receive the notification. Or incomplete, I don't know.
it's not bad. There's no most perfect way of writing all these things, okay? The concept is the most important thing. But I would say, I think in a more refined way, we can say that given that I am on the registration page, right? There'll be a page called registration page, right? You know how this how you page for when you're using an app and you're on your registration page, a page where you can register, right?
Yeah.
Right? When I complete all the fields, all the required fields, or when I complete all the required fields, does that make sense?
Yeah.
What do I want to see?
I should be able to receive a confirmation of registration complete. I don't know.
Yeah, not bad.
That my registration is completed.
Okay. Then I should be able to what?
Receive a notification that my registration is completed.
That my registration is completed. Are you saying that? That's your acceptance criteria. All right.
Yeah.
Online registration. We want to register online, right? You know, that's why you see that this class is following what we have done before, the assignments, and it's flowing that way. Do you understand why I gave what's the thing I sent to us earlier that shows us what we'll be doing every week, right? Our plan, task, and all that. This is following a hierarchy. I gave a problem statement, right? We look at the requirement gathering section. Do you understand? This is what happens after your requirement gathering. Do you understand? This is where you start writing your stories from the requirements that you validated from your stakeholders. Do you understand? Because before you start writing your stories, you must have validated the requirements with your stakeholders. Do you understand? You must have gotten sign-offs from them. All these terminologies. Sign-off is getting validation. Sign-off is saying, yes, thumbs up, we are good to go. Everything you wrote in the requirement is what we want from you. Is everything we have discussed. Does that make sense? It's them saying that it's clear. Everything is clear. We are good to go. I think we understand what you've written down. Okay, we can proceed. Then you can now start writing your user stories. Because you don't want to start writing your user story without validating your requirements. So now you see, there's a pattern now. Do you see how we started the class? You see where we are now?
Yeah.
Like what you'll be doing on the day. Like it's like how you'll be working when you are a business analyst, when you're on the job.
I get it.
Right. So now we look at an example of online registration. We have our Epic to be the online onboarding system, right?
Yes.
Right, and we have different stories under it. We have the online registration, we have the document upload, we have the status tracking, we have the admin dashboard, we have email notifications. These are the stories under it. For each of your stories, after writing them based on on the user perspective, they need to have an acceptance criteria, which would define your definition of done. Okay?
Okay.
Let me also let you know something when you're writing, right? Your acceptance criteria can be a lot, though. See, for this online registration, do you know we can still have more acceptance criteria?
Yeah.
With me. Now, imagine if a student registration is incomplete, or maybe a mandatory field is not completely filled.
Yes.
In a form online, there's always this mandatory field, right? Just imagine a student did not fill that form, that side, or did not fill it. There should be something that prompts. Imagine when there's an asterisk somewhere when you're registering online.
Yes.
You know that when you don't fill that part, it will give you an error message, isn't it?
And it will not allow you to proceed.
God bless you. So that is the work of your acceptance criteria. If there is no acceptance criteria, if somebody decides to not fill that part of mandatory field, the system, the portal, the system will allow them to continue. But because the developer already know that once a student does not fill the mandatory form, there should be an error message that is sent to them. They will work on that part. That is when we will know that this online registration part of our user story is complete. It's testable. We have tested it and it's good, and we are ready to go. So now let me write another user story acceptance criteria based on this. So from the illustration I have given, let's see if I can expand this. So you see, we have given so let's say mandatory field is missing, right? Given any mandatory field is missing, right? What is the next syntax we use here? After giving, what do we use?
And I should be able to.
What is the next thing after given?
Given any mandatory field is meaning.
Is missing. Yeah, when. I just want to hear the syntax like given, when, then. So the next one is when. So when I click submit, because most times when students, they want to click submit, right? They want to be, when I go to the next page, or when I try to go to, it could be submit. It might be that it's just one page, right? So when I click submit, in a case where it's just a one page form, when I click submit,
then I should be able to save a bit.
What would you see when you click submit?
And the system should, I don't know, the system should automatically, I don't know.
Sorry, we just need to move it forward. Okay. Then what?
Then the system should inform me about the error.
Then I think you want to say then the system, then I should receive an error message, right?
Yeah, I should receive an error message.
And I should receive an error message.
I want to ask you something. The way you're writing it now, the way we are just cracking our head, do we have to use our head to write all these criteria, or we need to research and Google about it to give us all the answers?
I love that question. See, that's why I said that when you start writing user stories, when you start doing your user stories, when you do a lot of projects, it becomes like your language, like English language that you speak. It becomes a way of writing your compression. You know, when you want to write your compression, my name is Kiniko. I am from Kiniko State. I visited Kiniko. I am dark in compression. I am something. So you already know that that's the format of writing compression, right? Is that how we write compression? Or tell me about yourself, that kind of compression. You understand? You already know that. So if you want to tell someone, primary school student, they'll tell you, yeah, you introduce yourself. You say, my name is so. I am from Kiniko State. I am from so State. I am from Abia State. I'm dark in compression. You know, you already know that's how you write compression. You already know that's how you write. You already know that this is compression. You get? So it becomes part of you. You know how you're going to be able to write your acceptance criteria is understanding all the things. See, your developer will tell you that in gathering your requirements, you are asking questions. You already know that there might be issue with students logging in. There might be issues. We want mandatory fields to be involved. They would have given you this requirement. Are you getting me? They would have said that we want students, we will be having some mandatory fields. You need to know those mandatory fields. So when I complete all required fields, you are going to list out the fields. They're not just going to say all required fields. You're going to say my name, student's name, date of birth. You understand? Address. You're going to state them out, because otherwise the developer will not know which of them are the mandatory fields, are the required fields. So while you are having discussions, when there is a problem statement, you will start hearing things like, oh, we currently used to have students that will send out their documents and they don't fill out the required fields, or they leave it blank. We want them to start. We want to ensure that all these required fields are sent to us, are uploaded. Otherwise, they should not be able to move on with the registration. Does that make sense? So it's in your conversation, it's in the questions you are asking that you will know what the acceptance criteria should be. If it needs you to research, fine, good. But I bet you that you would have asked. That's why your requirements part of your project is requirement gathering is very important. The gathering of requirement is very important. Most times they're already saying it. You can just be a good listener as well. When you're gathering requirements, try to listen. Don't try to be the one to be in control every time. Don't try to be the one talking, because when you talk, you don't even know more than you. They are the one who know. They are the experts in this. They are the subject matter expert here, right? They are the one who are probably facing this issue. They're probably the HR team. They're probably the admin team. right? So you're asking questions to understand what they're going through, what is happening, what are the fields that they require. When you know that these fields are mandatory, definitely you know that you should know that, well, if these fields are mandatory, there's a possibility that some students might not still fill this form and fill these required fields in it.
Mhm.
Do you get? There's a possibility that some students will just fill address, they'll not fill the date of birth. So in that case, what should happen? So when they try to omit or skip that thing, given that all require field, given that I'm on the registration page, right? When I complete all, this should not be when I complete. Okay, yeah, we'll do this part. We've done this one. This one is the correct part of online registration. This is not the error message type, right? Only something is missing. Okay, it went up. So you see, because of space, that's why we put here. This is another user story. This is another acceptance criteria. So this one ended here, right? This is the one that has when we fill our mandatory fields. When given any mandatory field is missing, when I click submit, then I should receive an error message telling me what is missing. You're not just receiving an error message, but an error message that would let you know that your date of birth is missing, or that the address is missing, or that the name is missing. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Okay. When you have stories, while you're having stories, you're also having tasks. Stories. Now we want to do online registration for students, right? We want students to be able to register online. What are those tasks? The internal tasks that needs to be done. Does that make sense? This is not, we're not looking at it from user perspective. Now we're not looking at user stories here. We're looking at tasks that will allow the stories to be finished. And you know that these tasks can be assigned to different people. You can have a story, but the task for completing that story can be assigned to different people. Now look at it this way. Some of the tasks can be a very technical task. Most times, is the work of developers. They want to design UI for registration page. They want to design user interface for registration page. This might be the work of one of maybe your developer. You may assign this work to a developer, this task to developer. It's like a project manager who is assigning work to people. Okay, for us to do this work of registering students online, these are the things, this is the breakdown of what needs to be done. Are you getting it now? Now, this is the breakdown of what needs to be done for only online registration. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
For your online registration, you will do your breakdown. For document upload, you will do a task under it as well. You have different tasks that needs to be done. For status tracking, there will be different tasks that needs to be done. All of your stories will have different tasks that needs to be done. Don't let this thing look overwhelming. It's so interesting. It's so exciting. You will build the confidence with experience. You will build the way to write user story with experience. By the time you write one, you will not be perfect at the first user story you write, but they will understand. They will move past it. The second story, they'll be like, okay, there's something when I don't think I did it very well. You will start getting comfortable with it. I bet with you that when you start writing user stories and doing this epic and things, you'll find it so comfortable. The first thing to bridge the gap is your knowledge gap, is to get all the information from your stakeholders. When you get all the information from your stakeholders, writing all these things is the easiest thing to do. Does that make sense? Writing your epic, writing your stories, writing your task, they are the easiest part of this whole thing. So you want to design user interface for registration page. You assign this work to, maybe you say developer, create schema, database schema. You don't even need to know it, but you just know that for them to get this job done, they need to create a database schema. This is developer language. You just write it that they already know. You just know that this one now is the work of let's say a data architect. It's not going to be an architect work anyways. Okay, you just assign it to the right person. Okay, we build API for form submission. Who is building the API? You already know that it's going to be the work of developer. Write validation rules. Maybe you're going to be assigning that to yourself because you want to write it, or you're going to assign it to a tester, whoever is going to be working doing it, whatever. So with this task, you are assigning. That's why a Jira board is so interesting, because task will now be assigned to the right project lead or right staff or right
whoever that does it in the organization, right?
Within the organization, right? That will make this complete. You know that there are some companies that are using agile methodology and they work with sprints. that in 2 weeks we want to complete something. Maybe in our first sprint, one of the things we want to do is our epic, is this online story, is this story we're working on, or maybe online story, online registration and document upload is what we want to do within that sprint. My darling, that means that, okay, we have assigned this work to people that will work with on these tasks within the sprint, within the 2 week sprint, right? The sprint is mostly used in agile methodology, right? People that work iteratively, that like to get work done, that like to complete tasks. You understand that, especially for development teams, they most likely use agile methodology, where things are done, we move on fast, we have requests, we quickly get it done in 2 weeks, we're done, we move on to, we plan our sprint, we look at things from our backlog, push them to our sprint, and then we'll still look at our Scrum methodologies, okay? Scrum ceremonies, that's fine. I'll take that as part of our class. We'll look at Scrum methodology, Scrum, so you can know the ceremonies, you can understand the Scrum ceremonies, our sprint planning, our stand-ups, retrospectives, and the likes, okay? So now, this is the example. Does that make tasks easy now? So don't be so overwhelmed as to what needs to be done. Sometimes you even need to talk to your developer to understand what they would need, what needs to be done, right? If you're working with developers. So that way you can align all the tasks together and you'll be able to assign it to whoever needs to do it. Okay?
Okay.
Right. Now, I said it that sometimes companies still have subtasks that they do, right? Small tasks, smallest tasks, after having task again. Imagine your task still having subtask again. Imagine your task. It's just simplifying that because it's just making work. It's just, trying to make a child understand, or a student in the university understand Pythagoras theorem, or understand something very, very big and all that. And you're trying to break it down into the simplest way they can understand it, that they'll get to the root of the solution. This is it. Or you're trying to plan an event, and in everything you're trying to make sure that, okay, you have this done. We're going to get in hotel. We're going to get a room hotel for, or maybe you're going to get a hall, right, that we're going to use for our event. After getting the hall, we need to have some caterers that will work on our listing. For our caterers, these are the things our caterer needs to do. Do you understand? For the caterers, as well as having the caterers, we want to make sure that we have pots, right? We want to make sure we have cooking stew, our foodstuffs. These are our subtasks. Do you get? We want to have food stuff. We're going to be cooking rice, jollof rice, plantain, Chinese rice, whatever. Those are our subtasks. In everything, we're trying to cook rice, isn't it? Above all, we're trying to do a party, a wedding party, isn't it? Which is our plan.
We need servers, we need all those things.
Exactly. You need server. Those are the subtasks. So it's just to simplify that work in a way that is not overwhelming. It's just to make sure that the user story is independent, is negotiable, is something that can be estimated. Does that make sense? We can estimate the time that it will take to get the work done. It's a small thing. It's not something too big. So you see that we're breaking it too small. It's specific. It's not something very big that is not understandable. It's not something that we cannot complete.
Yeah, okay.
And it's something that we can test as well. Okay? So it's used to break a task further. Now, this is not used to break user story. Make sure you know the hierarchy. Please remind me of the hierarchy where we started from.
Hierarchy what?
How does this Jira structure, this work structure start from? Where do you start? Where do you start from?
Epic.
Yeah.
User stories.
User stories.
Acceptance criteria.
Yeah. Let's see.
Tasks.
User stories, acceptance, they should be under. They are both under user stories. Yeah. Right. Okay. Makes sense.
Task. And subtask.
Simple, Shikena. Is it hard now?
Is this one so simple? Is it not to mention this one? But the work under this is
the work will still be simple eventually, because all you need to do is to know that you own this. It's me. I'm in control. But at the same time, don't think that you had the brain house here. You're not. Everybody is there to support you. Everybody is there to bring ideas together. You're just going to be like, just the way we used to have facilitator of a meeting, or someone that is host of a meeting. Is the host doing it alone? No. The host has people that they've invited for whatever that they're doing, for whatever section they are holding. If it's a conference, the host is not doing it alone. So you're not there the host is just making sure that everybody is coming together to bring something idea together, right? Everybody's saying something. Okay, what do you have to say? We understand that a lot of people are finding it difficult to come into tech. How do you think that they can join tech? Do you get? The host is saying that, and then we start seeing everybody that they've on the panel start Everybody is talking. What you do, smart as a smart babe that you are, you start jotting down. You start writing it down. You start scribing. You start writing because you don't want to miss this information. If it's a meeting, you can record it sharply so that you don't miss any important thing. There should be a smart way of writing those things because when they're talking, you'll be like, oh my God, a lot of things. They're saying so many things. How do I catch up? But you don't need to write everything they say. How to go into tech, be proactive. I went into something, but what I did was to make sure that I've read in advance. I did this thing. You already know that the word there is proactive. Do you get? You just be writing points, and then whatever it is that work for you, you need to record. Just take permission. Most times,
I'll need to record maybe later on,
Yeah, so you can record your section so that you don't miss out on important things, on important conversations. So that is subtask. Okay. So now look at here. Create registration form fields. Add client-side validation. Build post register endpoint. Write unit test cases. Very small work. Create registration form fields. You know that we already said it before. But how do you know? Sometimes you don't need to do a subtask. If sometimes it's the technical guys that like to do the subtask themselves because they have them know what they need to do for the task to be completed. It depends on what works for them. I used to help our developers do their subtask, but at some point they said they would prefer to be writing the subtask themselves. So it depends on the company because sometimes you don't even know how to help them. You don't know how to really help them do their work, right? So they might want to write the subtask themselves because they know how best or what best to do first. Does that make sense? So hard client-side validation, create registration form fields. We need a field for verification. We have talked about it, but you know that's a task that needs to be done. Remember, it's one of the things we just talk about it casually that, okay, once they fill the form and it's not completed, remember, but you know that form has to exist somewhere.
Yeah.
That's it. Somebody needs to do the form. That form needs to exist. If it's not existing, so what are they filling? Where are we going to be getting error message from? So that is why we have subtask. Does that make sense? Okay, so now, in all of these things, there's something called bug. There is always something called bug. Bug. Now, what is bug? Even with the name, imagine people that used to have, is it bed bug they call it?
Yeah.
There's like a mess. Even bug, from that word, you know that something is wrong somewhere. It's a defect. It's an error. Bug is not normal. Bed bug, is it bed? Right? I think it's bed. Yeah. Bed bug is not normal. It can never be normal. Nobody think people that went to boarding house, right? They used to talk about, especially when I went to camp. I remember when I went to serve, I remember that there were a lot of bed bugs. That was my first experience of bed bug, and I don't pray to ever experience them again in my life in the camp we went to. Those things are errors. They are not normal. I'm using this example. They don't relate to bed bugs, right? But I'm just using it to make you understand that bugs are errors. Does that make sense? Bugs effect in the system, something that is wrong. Oh, while something went wrong, while we're trying to I've forgotten the word right now. When we're trying to deploy the system, something went wrong. When we're trying to go live, something went wrong. You start using these words. I don't want to say these are the words you start using when you start hearing this mostly when you start working with a development team or a software development team and all of that. You start hearing something like we're going live, we need to go live, we need to want to deploy the system. The thing we'll work on now. Let's take it, let's finalize it, let's bring it out. Let it now become let's launch it. I hope that makes sense. That's the best word. Does that make sense? This thing we've worked on, let's launch it. Why they are launching it, something might go wrong. Why they're trying to say, okay, because if something goes wrong, that means, oh, something is wrong. Is it from our task? What happened? Did the user try to log in and they were able to bypass security? Something went wrong.
Yeah.
Something went wrong. So, and this is found through testing. You see what I say? Or user feedback. Something just went wrong. Users are complaining that, we after filling our mandatory fields, we couldn't still log in. We couldn't proceed to submit. That's an error. That's a bug. We're trying to go into the field. We're trying to log in, but after filling the form, the mandatory fields, I was able to fill the date of birth. I filled everything, but I still couldn't go in. I still couldn't bypass the submit phase. That is an error. Look at the example. So you see, admin dashboard is showing 500 error. In development, there's something called 500 error. But you will start seeing there's so many things error. If you see that when you look at you see that you can see things like that. I'm sure you should be familiar with this kind of error. You just hear error like 500 error. You just
And those are bugs. Yeah.
Those are bugs. Status page not updating. Imagine we're trying to, it's one of the criteria, it's one of the things we want to see, right? We want students to be able to want status change, status update, right? Let me go. Or imagine status page is not updating. That's a bug. And this is what we want. This is what is in our requirements. This is what is in our user story. And it's not updating. That's a bug. ID upload failing for PDF files. Imagine people that have PDF files, they could not log in. That's an error. You should be able to accept different files, different method of upload. But imagine if it's not accepting PDF and it's accepting only photo method, PNG alone. That's an error. So we have the summary of the hierarchy. We have this is supposed to summarize all the hierarchy. And you have told me earlier because I've asked you. So we have the epic, we have the stories, we have your task, we have the subtask. And in having your subtask, there can be bugs. So bugs is after all these things are completed. That when we're testing and we're trying to go live, we now encountered bug. So this is bug. Bug should just be a standalone. Let me make it red. Sorry, I was trying to use this one. Say red. Bugs. Okay, each level breaks down into manageable parts. Every level has its own. Every level has a way of breaking them down, right? You are breaking all these levels down. Your epic, you're already breaking it down to different stories, right? All your stories have different tasks. Each story is a work that needs to be completed. For you to complete a story, you need to have some tasks that needs to be done. Does that make sense?
Yes.
For that task to be completed too, there's need for subtask. But it's not in all cases that you do subtask. You might just hand it at task. Depends on what works for your organization. And this helps to clarify things. It helps for accountability. Why? Because each task can be assigned to, maybe a task can be assigned to you as the BA. You can assign a task to your BI team, people in BI. You can assign a task to your developer. You can assign a task to your data analyst. You can assign a task to your architect. Whoever you're assigning,
even the product owner.
You just need to assign the task, okay? Now look at it. So look at the breakdown now. You see? Simplified epic. Look at our epic. As our epic change, it remains the same.
No.
Our epic remains the same. It will never change. But our story will but our epic will not give birth to different children. Does that make sense? Our epic will not give birth to different children. Our epic can give birth to many children. No. But each children will have their own responsibility. You as a parent, let me make myself as an example. My mother gave birth to me, right? For my mommy giving birth to me, I gave birth to my own children. Everyone with their own responsibility.
Yes.
So a story will have its own task. Me as Victoria, I have Ibilola. Ibilola will have her own responsibilities. Does that make sense? Ibilola will have things that she needs to do in her day-to-day life to make her Ibilola. We're making sense? So this is how you analyze your story, your epic, your story, your task, your subtask, and this is how you identify bugs. Is where you are testing. When you guys are deploying, you start seeing that something went wrong. That is bug. Okay?
Yeah.
Any question?
Can you just take it back a bit? Let me just write that part.
Which of them?
Yeah, I'm on the tax part.
Well, of course, I can share the slide with you. But
I just like writing it. I'll definitely see the slide.
Okay.
Examples of the breakdown. Full breakdown example.
Or is it not this one? Or is it the down part? Full breakdown example. Okay.
Yeah, that one. Tax. Okay.
Any question?
No question. What's the build UI? What's UI?
User interface.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, any language you don't understand, you don't have to include it. It's just to make it simplified.
Okay.
Yeah.
Box register, no responding. Okay. Go on.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. So any questions? I think
no question for now.
So what I want you to do, right? You're going to practice creating epic and stories. You'll break them into tasks, right? We'll explore Jira issue creation. Otherwise, we'll do something like a hands-on Jira workshop, okay? So this will be our next steps. So I'll give you tasks that will warrant you to create epics and stories, right?
Mm.
You break them into your task.